U.S. soccer legend and analyst Alexi Lalas has blessed the studio as we get ready for the to the 2026 World Cup. Excuse with the excitement, bro. It's back. You've played in it. It's back here. 1994. I think I had a hairline back then. Alexi, are we ready as a country for the World Cup?
Thanks for having me. First off, you put on a suit. I figured, all right, I'll throw my bone. We'll come into this wonderful studio. You got good people behind the camera making you look good. Yeah. So. I mean, hairline. You weren't even born back in the 1900s. Back in the previous century when I was running around, speaking of hair, it was a whole lot of hair ago.
You had a lot.
And I can't believe the Men's World Cup is coming back to the back to the U.S. after 32 years. Not only a World Cup, biggest World Cup in history, okay? 48 teams, 104 games, 3 different countries. Obviously, to our friends in the north for Canada and our friends down south to Mexico. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast on and off the field. I think it's going to be a celebration. I think when all is said and done, it's going to go down as not just the biggest and most popular World Cup, but the biggest sporting event and the biggest cultural event in world history.
Yeah.
So a lot to be excited about as we barrel. We're less than 200 days away.
It's crazy.
I'm going to head from New York down to D.C. this Friday for the draw, where it'll get real for a lot of teams as we decide who's playing who. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to on and off the field.
Again, you legend here, and me being a former American football player, got a Super Bowl ring with the Giants. You've been in the World Cup. You've been on that big stage. You talked about the magic that comes with it and how this magic can kind of bring this country together in ways that others can't. I know it from being there in the Super Bowl, but break down that magic that you're talking about when you're on the pitch in your home country. You got the American fan base going crazy. Break that down to our casual soccer fan who has no clue what that moment is like.
Yeah, so there's nothing better than a World Cup except a home World Cup. I'm sitting here in this chair next to you today because, like we said, of the 1994 World Cup. Changed my life forever. I lived the power of what a World Cup can do to an individual, but more importantly, I saw what it can do to a country and culture relative to the sport of soccer. And it fundamentally changed the way people think about soccer, as did, by the way, a couple of years later, the Women's World Cup in 1999. But these were kind of seminal moments. And the same is on the offing next summer in this World Cup, but only in a whole larger scale. And don't let anybody tell you that we're not a soccer-playing nation. Don't let anybody tell you we're not a soccer culture. I would put our American fans, our American players, our American coaches, our American soccer landscape up against anybody in the world. Yeah, it's a little different. Yeah, it's a little unique, but we're educated, we're discerning, and we're passionate. And I think the world is going to discover that as they come back to a very changed landscape next summer. So a lot of it's going to be fun. You mentioned the Super Bowl. This is a lot of Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day after day after day. It's also going to be a celebration. It's going to happen during the 250th birthday of what I feel is the greatest country in the world.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of stuff to kind of bring people together, and we recognize from a soccer perspective that we bring people into this tent, and the circus will come and then it will leave town, but it's the legacy that it leaves. I'm here in New York, right? I walk down the street, people will come up to me and say, I remember the summer of 1994. And that's what can happen in an even bigger scale, in that there are boys and girls that will watch the World Cup next summer and will see the sport, but they'll see their country through the lens of the World Cup. Yeah. And then many, many years from now, when I'm not around anymore, there will be a generation that'll say, remember the summer of 26? That was awesome. We had a blast.
I look at how Pele called soccer the beautiful game. I look at how, whether professional football, just sports in general, it's something that brings us together. We talk about bringing all these cultures and countries into this tent. Are you worried that the kind of political climate can ruin that experience of a World Cup?
So a couple of things. When it comes to President Trump, I think when all is said and done, he's going to go down as the soccer president.
Okay.
Just the sheer amount, the volume, and the consistency of soccer that emanates from him, and obviously the White House and the Oval Office. I mean, he mentions the World Cup consistently when he is talking in public. I think he's as excited as anybody for the World Cup, and he's smart. He's a politician. He recognizes the platform, the opportunity, the responsibility, soft power, whatever, from a political perspective, the opportunity that it affords. But he also recognizes the responsibility in that this is going to be a message to the world. And it behooves us to make sure that whether people are coming from the outside to visit or whether people are just traveling around in the U.S., that they have a kick-ass time.
Yeah.
They have a wonderful time, and they take that message back to their different countries that they are coming from. We don't want to have problems when it comes to security or anything like that.
For sure.
And I think ultimately that if you decide to come for the World Cup, you are going to have a summer vacation through the lens of that World Cup, the likes of which we haven't seen, and one that is going to be memorable for you, and hopefully you bring back a positive message to the rest of the countries that you go back to.
I think we did a great job with the FIFA Club World Cup.
Yes.
And I just imagine Times Square is right there. I imagine walking to Port Authority, and they were just fan bases from all over in the middle of Times Square. Just took it over, and that energy, that vibe. I feel like the casual American soccer fan has to experience that to really experience the beautiful game. We go back to 1994. Let's go back to Alexi Lalas, long hair with the headband. I know who you were, man. Who's that rock star? Or who are those rock stars on this year's team? That's the Alexi Lalases of 1994.
Well, they broke the mold, my friend. It was a long time ago. When I look at this U.S. team right now, obviously some names are going to pop up, not the least of which is Christian Pulisic, who I think as he continues on will ultimately be looked at as arguably the greatest male American soccer player in history. That's the trajectory that he's on. But as I said before, this is an opportunity for him and others on the U.S. team to show their wares. You know, now you and your generation, you call it a brand, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's no better way in polishing your brand than doing it at a home World Cup here. And so it doesn't matter where you play or the fame that you have, the money that you have. This is an opportunity in front of your home country to almost introduce or reintroduce yourself. And so I think Christian Pulisic, a lot of eyes will be on him, and rightfully so. He is a star. Already played in a World Cup, but this is a little different playing at home. But what's so interesting to me is that there's some players that are now creeping into this team that might, at the perfect moment next summer, kind of use it as their coming out party. You know, you look at like a Christian Roldan or a Sebastian Berhalter or a Diego Luna, some of these players in Major League Soccer that have, through Pochettino kind of opening it up, have not wormed their way. They've earned their way in to being part of the conversation. And there will be players that we don't necessarily look at that use the World Cup in the same way that I did to star. And if you do it at the World Cup, I can attest to it. It changes your life forever.
Lastly, I'm going to have fun with this one because 8 Mile is one of my favorite movies out there. Legendary line, you went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. Yep. That's where you went.
Absolutely.
How many times have you gotten that?
I get it a lot. I am a proud Cranbrook Crane.
Okay.
I was incredibly fortunate to be able to go to Cranbrook and the opportunity that it afforded me, not just the education, but the experience. And, Eminem should have been so lucky to have gone to Cranbrook. No, it's wonderful. It shaped me as a person, and even to a certain extent as a soccer player. So it's a beautiful campus. Really, really lucky. But yeah, I hear that a lot when it comes to people with that line. So, but I still wear my stuff proudly. Bring it on. Cranbrook Crane forever.
There you go. I had to ask, man, because I saw it on Wikipedia. I was like, oh, I gotta have it, and I had to deliver it in that tone.
All good.
Hey, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Thank you.
You keep killing it with the analysts.
Oh, we'll have a good time next summer. So I hope to see you out at the games and everybody out there. It's going to be fun.
All right, man.